Hello everyone, my name is Rajiv and welcome to the final part in Decoding Customer Success series. And today it's all about nurturing. So let's dive straight into it. And first of all, understand why is nurturing your customers important. So we've spoken about, first of all, the fundamentals, and then we've spoken about why onboarding a customer is so important. Today we're going to talk about why nurturing your customers is important. So first of all, let's talk about the concept of nurturing. What does nurturing basically mean? So once a customer is onboarded, that's not when you stop talking to them or saying, okay, you're onboarded, my job is done. In fact, that's where the job of a true account manager or a customer success manager starts, because that's when you start nurturing the client. And what does nurturing mean? Essentially, you keep making sure that there are touch points at regular intervals so that you have insights into his activities, and you can also make sure that the customer eventually either renews, if that is the goal from the customer success team point of view, or the customer's usage statistics are provided, etc., to make him upgrade. But let's talk about that a little more in detail. So, first up, nurturing will ensure that there's a continued customer experience. So you don't want your customers to say, oh, well, they've onboarded me and forgotten me. So make sure that there's a continuous customer experience and you can silently nudge your customer in the direction you want him to. In addition, nurturing plays a vital role in keeping your customers engaged once onboarding ends. Not to mention, nurturing activities are a great way to get product updates to your customers. So if you've got a product that is frequently updated or a product that has a lot of features, you want to make sure that there's a value-driven feature adoption of those features. Now, how do you achieve that? That's where nurturing comes into play. While you've done some basic groundwork in the onboarding process, you want to make sure that the customer is nurtured once the onboarding process ends. And this is a great way of doing it, and that's a part of the nurturing process. In addition, nurturing will, of course, eventually open doors for expansions and upgrade within your customer account. So it's essential that you carry that out as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about the different kind of nurturing activities. Now, depending on what kind of business you are, there could be literally 100 type of business nurture activities. But from a SaaS customer point of view, there are four major activities that you should essentially be engaging in during the nurturing process. And the first of those nurturing activities is drip emails. Now, what do I mean by emails? Drip emails. Drip email basically are a steady stream of emails that are either sent out by the account executive or by the marketing team, or in some cases by both the account executive as well as the marketing team. Now, this is a post-sale email drip. So the essential purpose of this email drip is to just ensure that there are customer updates that are being provided. So let's talk about that in detail. So one of the things that drip emails can definitely center around are product updates. Now, these are usually designed by the product team, sent out by the product/marketing team. And this again is to make sure that the customer sees that that the product is being maintained regularly, in addition to give them an idea of any value-driven feature updates that you want to give him. Now, the idea of doing this is a customer having so many different features, he may not be using all those features, but maybe one of those drip emails will click for him and say, hey, that's a great feature, tell me more about it. And that's your foot in to make sure that there's continued trading as well as the customer is engaged over the product. Of course, the second kind of drip emails that are sent out very often are industry best practices emails. Now, these could be emails that talk about, hey, do you know that 60% of all customers that use our product are actually happy with this kind of feature? Or here is the survey that we conducted on our products. Or are you testing according to your requirements, or is your XYZ product being used as per the industry standards? So again, there may not be any immediate value, but this actually builds a relationship of trust with the customer and also makes every email that you send out valuable. So in the future, if you send out an email which is purely not sales driven, purely say just based on your interest, there's a chance that customer will, of course, open it. Then the drip emails also ensure that more than one team member is engaged. Now, this is very important. One kind of drip email is designed at the administrator or the owner of a subscription, and then there are other drip emails that are okay to be sent out to the entire team. Now, that is the best way to spread know-how among the team as opposed to the license owner or admin. Now, there's a very important caveat or warning here. If the number of drip emails are very high that are going out to the team, they are going to be treated as spam, and your customer or your owner of the subscription is going to come back to you and say, hey, stop sending me so many emails. Now, you don't want that happen. You want to make sure that these drip emails are reserved for special occasions, and you know exactly when to send these out to your entire customer's user base. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, these drip emails should be both marketing and sales driven. So that is just one nurture activity. Now let's talk about a sales point of view, or a true account management as it's called, or sales driven nurturing activity. And these would be business reviews. Now what role do business reviews play? So the entire concept of business reviews is that they should be mutually agreed upon, and the frequency should be decided once onboarding ends. What do I mean? So once onboarding ends, you can say, hey, what I want to do is I want to check in on you at regular intervals. So how about we have one meeting every quarter, keep a half an hour slot, and we talk about your product usage, as well as we talk about any new industry best practices, as well as what the ROI or the return on investment of the product is. So business review should show both the state of the subscription, the ROI, and also any new product offers. In addition, if you have any additional information that you want to slip in, you can slip in there. Very important to remember, do not start upselling the product in the business review. The business review is not about you, it's about your customer and the value he's deriving from the product and the ROI from the product. Yes, eventually the goal is to get an upsell, but that's not going to happen maybe in the first business review, or it's something that you want your customer to talk about, or you set up a separate meeting. If in the first few business reviews, all you do is talk about, hey, you need more licenses, hey, you need more seats, it's going to defeat the purpose of a business review. So it's a very, very carefully driven thing, a business review. You need to make sure that is carried out. Of course, business reviews are also a great way to loop in your team. Just to give you an example, if there's a large organization where there are, say, 15 teams and you're only talking to one team and you're having a business review and say, hey, I noticed that you've got another team, or that sometimes, by the way, it also happens the customer might say, hey, I've got another team who's maybe interested in your product. Shall I bring them into the business review? And the answer is awesome. Go ahead and bring them into the business review. So it's a great way to get a referral whenever you have one. In addition, a great way to save you time as well from pitching the product entirely from scratch to another team. Instead, you can just get them looped in here. And if they're interested, then you can start out a separate conversation with that team. So very important to hold regular business reviews. Now, you can't afford to hold business review on small ticket size deals. You need to make sure that you're investing in the right kind of organization and the right kind of person when you're holding these business reviews. Let's continue on. Now let's talk about account monitoring. Now this is a very, very essential part of the customer success scenario. I know some salespeople hate doing this because they feel it's such a manual and tedious task. Well, in that case, I'd say that you've got the wrong software installed, or you're not using the right kind of software for your subscription. So at any given time, you should have insights into your current customers' usage statistics, into how his account is going, if it's a healthy account, etc., etc. I don't want to name drop subscriptions and software here, but there are plenty of good software that allow you to do that. So what is the purpose here? The purpose is to keep an eye on the customer's account and monitor the account for things like dip in that usage, lack of feature adoption, lack of user accounts, and the reverse as well. Hey, you used all up your seats, you lose all your licenses up. Hey, your usage is very high. I think you need to upgrade. So that's a very good thing into account monitoring. And of course, it's required that you have a game plan for each scenario and be ready to offer value-driven insights for each scenario. So let's say if a customer is using a help desk software and he's now used up all the seats that he have or all the licenses that he had with the help desk software, what is your play? You just can't go and say, hey, you've used up all the seats, do you need more? You need to show the customer the value of having more licenses added. And if you show him that value, that's when he's truly going to think about an upgrade. So I've worked in the industry for almost 8 years plus, 15 years of experience. In my experience, telling a customer you need more is the worst way of pitching anything. The best way of doing it is saying, hey, just let you know that you've used up your seats, your license is unaffected, but I just want you to know you lost out on so much XYZ productivity as a result of not having sufficient licensing. That is when the customer is going to pay attention to what you say. He may not immediately upgrade in that case either, but there's always at the back of his head a feeling that, yeah, actually he's right. I'm losing out productivity as a result of this. And no one wants to be that guy who's responsible for losing productivity. So you're not even conning the person into it. You're actually having a value-driven conversation with the customer. Finally, this should be automated so that you are alerted when a trigger is hit on the customer account. And this is why I mentioned that the software that you have for your customer success activities is essential. If your software is not smart enough or not programmable enough to pick up on these activities, the end result is going to be that you're going to struggle to find the triggers that are responsible for account monitoring. And in that case, you're probably not going to have enough insights into your customer. It's essential that the right kind of software be used. If you're an account manager, go talk to your sales team manager. If you're a sales manager, either take it on yourself to do this or at least take it to the next level and see what you can do. Right. And that is basically what we have. Now, I talked about four major things. The fourth thing is social. I'm going to have a separate conversation about social selling and social monitoring on prospects. So I've not put that here in today's video. But basically, socially also, you can keep an eye out for major events that happen to an organization. For example, if you are selling CRM, and you realize that the customer that you sold the CRM to is all of a sudden hiring for new positions, and you know those positions are going to use the CRM software, that is the time you need to get in there, have a conversation with the customers. Hey, I just noticed your post here. Looks like your team is expanding. Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested in talking about increasing the subscription size of the license as well? You'll be surprised how many times people actually do not come up to you and they forget a very simple thing like increasing the subscription size of their current CRM just because they feel they can do it at the last hour. So very good hook there. I will talk about more of that when I talk about social selling in a different video. Again, at Insight Selling is my Twitter handle. At Insight, www.insightselling.org is the website. And of course, you can follow us on facebook.com/Insight Selling. So that is the wrap up on the customer success or decoding customer success series. We will be talking about in depth about other concepts like this. I think I'll do social selling next now that I've got an idea. And I look forward to looking to your viewership, and hit the subscribe button if you like what we do. Thank you so much, Rajiv, checking out for now, and hope to see you in another series.